Hi guys. So in today's video, we are going to explore a little bit about the recent stimulus bill, which has been passed by the federal government. A huge amount of $2.2 trillion has been allocated for that. But many of us have questions like, will non-immigrants with visas like H1 or L1 or the students with OPT, with F visas and B visas be eligible for the stimulus bill is the biggest question in many of our minds. So I thought of compiling all the questions and answers to that to make it clear for everybody. So let's check out what are the answers for those things. So, what is the stimulus bill and why is it passed? Like, this is in the event of the pandemic, the coronavirus outbreak, which has devastated many of our lives. There's a lot of layoffs happening around. The economy is at a downfall. So, to address all these things, the federal government introduced this huge bill, which was passed in House, Senate, and then recently signed by the president. So the reasons for introducing this bill is to stop the economy from recession and to increase the government spending so that there is a good amount of money flow in the economy so that it doesn't get into the recession, and to lower the taxes and interest rates on the loans and the taxes that is being paid by the public, and to help the Americans during layoffs, and there is so much of layoff around during this period. So to help the Americans and the public during this, and also to help the small businesses to survive during this extreme conditions, which is an unprecedented event. So these are the reasons for introducing this bill. So all the non-immigrant visas like H1 or L1, are they eligible for the stimulus payout? Yes, they are eligible, but there are some if clauses to be considered before giving out a blunt yes here. So the clauses are like, financial year 2018 or 2019 returns have to be filed. So any one of this year's tax return has to be filed to get the stimulus bill payout. And also the tax returns should be filed with a social security number, SSN. Any other form of filing will not receive the bill. And if 2019 is not filed, because we have still time till June, the previous year 2018's return will be considered for the payout. So if all the if clauses are okay, how much will I get? So that's the next question. So it all depends on the adjusted gross income that is mentioned in your W2 form. That is the key for getting this stimulus payout. So I have given an abbreviation for it like AGI. So the adjusted gross income in the W2 form can be found like how it is there in the given screenshot. So it will be there. You have to just find it out how much it is in the W2. So if you are filing as an individual, so the AGI should be less than $75,000, 75K. So if you are filing individual and if it is less than 75K, you get $1,200 as the payout. And if you are filing jointly as married along with your spouse, and the joint income of yours and your spouse's is less than 250K, then you get a payout of $2,400. And for each additional child, for if you have a child as a dependent, then an additional $500 would be given out for each child. So there are a few things we need to consider here. What if my income is more than 75 as an individual, or 250K, more than 250K as a joint filing? then for every extra $100, $5 would be reduced in the payout, STI payout. So, like suppose if I have 75,500 as my AGI in my W2 form, then $5 for every 100, so that is $5 into 5, so $25 would be reduced from your stimulus payout. So here instead of 1,200 you get $1,175 into your account. So that's how they calculate it. So even if you are a H1 or L1 visa holder, there are scenarios where you would not be eligible for getting the stimulus payout. So those cases we'll be covering it here. So if you have filed the tax as a jointly married tax filing, in any of the scenario you have used a ITIN instead of an SSN during the tax filing, you will not be eligible for the tax for the stimulus payout. So in the first scenario, if a H1B primary with an SSN and a H4 spouse with an SSN, both have filed it jointly, then definitely they are eligible for the stimulus payout. The second scenario where H1B primary with SSN and H4 spouse with an ITIN, so who doesn't have an SSN who has filed it with an ITIN, definitely they'll not be eligible for the payout. The third scenario where both the H1 and the H4 are SSN and the child, extra child that you have declared as dependent also has an SSN, then of course they are eligible completely 2,400 plus 500. So the fourth scenario is the H1 primary with SSN, H4 with SSN, but the child doesn't have an SSN. The child is having an ITIN, then they do get a 2,400, but the extra 500 for the child will not be eligible. So the fifth scenario where the H1 has an SSN, H4 spouse doesn't have an SSN, they have filed it with ITIN, and the child has an SSN, so they would completely not get it because the H4 is filed with an ITIN. Next is the H1 with SSN, H4 with ITIN. The child is also with ITIN, definitely. H4 anyways have an ITIN, they will not be eligible. The fourth scenario, they have two children, one children with SSN and the second child with ITIN. The child with ITIN, that particular 500 alone you will not get. So the 500 for the other child with SSN, you will definitely get it. So when and how will I get the payment? That's the next question. So good news is the IRS has already started the necessary steps for the payments. You can expect it into your accounts within 3 to 4 weeks from now. So that's the timeline IRS is looking at. And how do you get it, like the payments? So while filing the tax return, if you have given or provided the direct deposit bank account details, then it will directly come into your direct deposit bank account, which is given in the tax return. If the bank account details are not furnished during the tax filing, then a check will be drafted and sent out to the address that you have mentioned during the tax filing. So but this is a little bit slower process than the direct deposit bank account deposit. But make sure you have informed in case if you have shifted to a new place, to inform the USPS regarding your address change, so that they will automatically forward the check to your current address. So make sure your addresses are updated, and in case if you have moved after the filing, make sure you inform the USPS regarding your move, so that the check would be redirected to your new address. So next, the FAQs, which just popped out on in my mind while discussing it with my friends. So what if the 2018 and 2019 tax returns are not done yet? So the answer is do it now, right now, because this is going to you get huge amount of money here. Why to lose out on the money that is being given by the government? You pay so much of taxes each year, so just don't miss out on it. In case if you are stuck in the lockdown, try to do it online or do it after the lockdown. Doesn't matter because the IRS is processing it till the year end. So next thing is, what if I cannot file the return immediately due to the lockdown? So that's what, it's no worries. IRS will keep processing it until the end of 2020. So do it immediately as soon as you can in case if you're affected, because this is huge money which is going to be paid out. So will this affect my GC processing and be considered as a public charge? No, this is not going to be considered as a public charge, or it's not going to affect your GC, because this is a crisis that's happening and people are in need of money. So the government is not going to consider this as a public charge. So then the last question is, are students with OPT, F1 and visitor visas with B1, B2 be eligible for this? Unfortunately, I'm really sorry, no. So this is not eligible for OPT or the F1 students or the visitors with B1 and B2 visas. So that's really unfortunate, but the simple answer is no, they won't be considered. Sorry about that. So guys, hope this was really useful for you. I hope you had a lot of information and insight on the stimulus bill here. So if you like this video, and if you are looking for more interesting videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe, Vetitors. So this is going to be interesting going further. Thank you. Thanks for watching.